How's it going, everybody? So today I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should not say to someone with ME or CFS. There are things that they are probably not going to be too stoked to hear. So I'm going to go into those 5, and hopefully this helps people that know people with ME or have a family member with ME. Hopefully this will help a little bit and help navigate dealing with this illness a little more. I feel like a lot of people with ME hear these things constantly, these 5, and I feel like they either are too sick to articulate that they don't want to hear this, or they've just kind of given up because they hear it so often. So I'm going to go ahead and say it for them. And for everyone watching this, let me know in the comment section what you don't want to hear from people. Number 1, in no particular order. Hey, but you look fine. Someone just got done telling you about their illness, how they've been bedridden, how they've had to quit their job, and you say, but you look fine. I understand for people who have never dealt with a chronic illness that you're just trying to say, hey, you look okay, like what's going on? People with a chronic illness like ME and many others too, they might look great and they are not. There's a lot going on in their body. They could be dealing with severe brain fog. They could be dealing with pain, like fibromyalgia, joint pain, migraines, stomach issues, severe fatigue, insomnia. I mean, the list goes on and on. Dizziness, vertigo. There's a lot of things they could be dealing with, but if you look at them, they look fine. So it really upsets people sometimes when they hear that, because they're dealing with so much uncertainty, so much frustration. They're upset that they can't work. They're upset they can't make certain social events. And for someone to say, but you look fine though, so nothing must be going on. Maybe that's not what people mean. Sometimes it is, but maybe that's not what's meant. And people with ME are gonna almost take it like that every single time. So I really suggest, if you're trying to build an understanding with someone with ME, you're not trying to hurt someone, try to avoid saying that. They know that when they look in the mirror, they might look okay, but you have to also understand they've gone to many doctors, probably, most people with ME, and the doctors go, hey, you look fine, and they get no help, they get no treatment, they're gaslighted. So that's something that will definitely upset someone with ME and CFS, is to simply say you look fine. Number 2, when someone with ME and CFS is explaining their illness, and how it's related to fatigue and exhaustion, and to say, but we're all tired though. That is a very frustrating thing to hear as well, because people with ME, one of the main symptoms is chronic fatigue, horrible sleep, unrefreshing sleep. These people are absolutely drained. If you learn a little bit about post-exertional malaise, I'll try to link a video to that. It has a lot to do with why people with ME are just flat out exhausted. I'm not even sure exhausted is a strong enough word. So when other people say, hey, we're all tired, people with ME aren't tired. They're completely drained. Their battery is at 0. So it does frustrate people with ME, and you might mean no harm. You might be saying, hey, we're all tired, why can't you try this? Or, I understand that not everyone's saying these things or trying to be offensive, so that's the main reason I'm also making this video. I think a lot of people just don't know. Some people are mean, unfortunately, but saying we're all tired, get some rest, that's not gonna fix ME. If it was as simple as getting rest, everyone would just, turn on some Netflix for a week and rest up, and life would be great again. And that's not what's going on here. So I would recommend people don't say, hey, we're all tired though, what's your deal? I think that people with ME desire feeling well rested more than anything. Number 3, and this one starts to get into an aggressive tone. I don't think this happens by accident, but calling people with a chronic illness like ME lazy is just cruel. I think it happens more with women, unfortunately. That's a whole nother topic. I think it's a terrible thing to say to someone who's sick. For some reason, ME and a couple others, people that suffer from these illnesses tend to hear this a lot. And imagine being extremely ill to the point you've lost everything in your life. You lost your career, friendships, family friendships, and you're trying everything you can to get back to normal, to get healthy. You're researching online, you're making doctor's appointments, you're looking for specialists, you're trying all these different supplements, medicines, anything that you could do to get better. And someone just says, you're just lazy. I personally have been fortunate enough to have a good group of people around me. I haven't been, I haven't had to deal with that, but the few times that someone has called me lazy, I'm quick to point out that my life before getting ill was fantastic. I was making a lot of money, everything was great. Why would I just give that up? Why would I just one day become lazy? If you look at a lot of people with ME and CFS, you will see that a lot of them were type A personalities before getting sick. A lot of them were overworking out, taking care of their family, being a mom, a sister, an aunt, a provider financially, cleaning, cooking, all these things. They were doing all these different things, and then they got sick, got ME. These are not lazy people. Imagine saying that to someone with cancer. Imagine saying that to someone with Lou Gehrig's disease or MS. Like, it's just not something you hear in many other illnesses. Imagine telling someone with lung cancer that they're lazy for not wanting to go on that walk. It's just cruel, and I think that saying that to people is just kind of a gross thing to say to someone who is, one, going through a very difficult time in their life. Two, they're trying to get better. A lot of these people are just lost in trying to figure out a new path, to figure out how to find treatment and to get better. And they're scared. Imagine from one day to another, your entire life changes and you can no longer go to the gym. You can no longer play basketball. You can no longer meet up with friends to go get coffee. That's hard to imagine for a lot of people, but that happens to people with ME and other chronic illnesses like this. So the you're lazy thing, unless you're trying to be a jerk, that's just not something you should really say to someone who's sick. Number 4, and I've gotten this a lot, and for my friends who might see this video, I love you, it's okay, I'm not angry, I know it's hard to understand, but you're a hypochondriac. People with ME and CFS kind of go one way or another. I know a lot of people with ME and CFS that they catch no colds, they catch no flus. It's almost like their immune system's in overdrive. Then there's another big part of ME and CFS where people catch a flu or a cold. It's a nightmare. It takes months to recover, months to get back to baseline, sometimes 6 months or more. And I am very careful with what I eat. I'm very careful with where I go, who I'm around, because I don't enjoy catching viruses and then having to fight my way back for 6 months to just feel, normal again, which is the baseline I have with ME and CFS. So I do have friends that sometimes are like, hey, you're fine. You're not going to be sick. It's just a cold. Why are you afraid of a cold? I'm not afraid of colds. I'm afraid of a cold reacting poorly with my ME and me having to crawl my way back to feeling somewhat normal again. And how do you explain that to someone who's never had ME? They catch a cold, 3 days later they're fine. They just have maybe a residual cough for 2 weeks and everything's back to normal. That's not the case with people with ME and CFS. And a lot of times those colds and flus and whatever other illness can trigger a cascade of effects that you don't want. I'll give another example. I got E. coli from eating something that was undercooked. And most people get better within a couple weeks. I lost like 40 pounds. I was sick for like 6 to 9 months. I was bedridden for about 5 of those months. And people just don't understand that people with ME don't recover the same way. So wanting to, be clean and not eat at a random sketchy place, that's not being a hypochondriac. That's survival. That's being educated on your condition and knowing what to avoid. Let me ask you this. If someone has lung cancer, are they a hypochondriac if they don't want to be around cigarette smoke? Does it mean they're scared of cigarette smoke? No, it just means they understand they have a lung condition and they don't want to be around something that will make their condition worse. And that's how it is with ME and CFS as well. They're not hypochondriacs. They just know the the eventuality of the long road ahead of them where other people just recover quickly. Okay, so number 5. It's all in your head. You're depressed. Okay, so this one to me is like probably one of the worst ones you could say. To tell someone that chronic illness that they've had, where they've had to like kind of let go of everything in their life, is just all in their head. No one wants to be sick, and anyone who wants to debate that, I'm happy to debate that. Is there someone out there? Sure. Most people do not want to be sick. Most people don't want to just sit at home and have their life completely ruined. That's not something people strive for. That's not something people want. They're not using an illness to sit around and rot in a room. So depression, you can have, most people that have a chronic illness develop depression at some point. If you don't see your friends for months on end, if you're locked in a dark room for months on end because you can't move due to your illness, you're going to get depressed. That's just a natural progression of an illness. But everything people are going through in their illness it's not caused by depression. Can depression make it worse? Sure, depression makes anything worse. But I think it's extremely unfair to just look at someone and say, hey, you're imagining this. I don't think people are imagining this illness and sitting around in a room 14, 16 hours a day. No one wants to do that. Who wants to do that? A bonus. I have a couple bonus ones, things not to say. Be more positive. Have a positive outlook. Don't tell that to someone who has ME and CFS. Now, if they're dealing with a lot of negativity in their life and they're sounding extremely negative, in certain contexts, I think it works. But if you just kind of blanket statement, hey, positive vibes, eat better, work out, you can't cure ME. Let's get that out of the way. There are some people that have recovered, very rare. Diet's not going to cure it. Being positive is not going to cure it. Just like being positive is not going to cure most illnesses. Does it help to be positive, have endorphins flowing? Yes, of course. I think being positive is an extremely important aspect of life, in every aspect of life, in work, in relationships, in illness, in everything. But it's not going to cure an illness, and to suggest that, I don't think is the right way to go. Eating better is not going to cure it. Don't tell people just to eat a little bit better. That's not going to do it. Can it help? Of course. Eating helps. Eating healthy helps in every aspect of life. But it's not going to cure ME. So I think if you are interested in having a good relationship with someone that has ME, or someone in your family has it, these are certain things that I would avoid. And I think it's going to help build that relationship, that understanding. For some reason, it's so hard for certain people to be kind. To me, a lot of these things is just be kind. And the other ones that I mentioned is just people don't know what they don't know. Someone with ME doesn't know these things, and you can't get super upset with them if they don't know. And that's a big reason I'm making this video. But be nice to people. No one wants to be sick. I'm blessed. I have kind people in my life, friends who understand. But a lot of people don't, and it sucks. They're dealing with this life-changing illness, and on top of that, they're being treated poorly. So if you could, try to be a little nicer, and hopefully this video helps people understand ME a little bit better. All right, till next time, take care.